Alright, sorry. Yeah, I just realized that. Like I said, complete and utter issues today going on. It has been absolutely bananas. I was I was told, I looked at my email this morning, it was like, hey, there's no assessment. I'm like, what? I put that up. Okay, wasn't there. It's there now, okay? No worries, it's open all day, so you can still turn it in. No freakouts, okay? I saw that a lot of you have posted in the discussion board. We're just going to pull stuff from there. It'll be just fine. But, oh my goodness. Let me just tell you about how crappy everything has been. So, I was up because I got to do my business stuff. So, I was up like 4:45 this morning. I was ready to go. I sit down to film my first thing, and my main camera doesn't work. You know, I'm like, ugh. Okay. And it was a common issue. They're like, unplug this, start this program over, and it'll be fine. Nothing happened, right? And I was like, okay. And then I looked, I was like, I'll just switch my one camera because I got to be able to teach class. And then that one stopped. And I'm like, what is going on? The lights were on, right? They're showing that it worked. The computer recognized it, but nothing. And I'm like, okay, so that totally and utterly sucked. And it took me 2 hours to get it fixed. And the big issue was, like, I had to completely erase the memory of the webcam and the software it uses from my computer, restart the computer, plug the computer in, plug the webcams back in, and re-download everything. And when I did that, the entire software package was different. And I think what had happened was the people updated and did a whole new design and all that kind of good stuff. And then all of a sudden it was just like, oh, well, yeah, as soon as there's a problem, you'll just have to redo it, but we're not going to tell anybody. So yeah. And then because of that, my whole streaming software, I deleted that, re-uploaded it, and I forgot. So I didn't put any of the stream keys in. It was a mess. But we're here now. We're only a couple minutes behind, so yeah, so here we are, hopefully ripping and roaring to go. Alright, so let's see, forum, right? I mean, everything as far as streaming went that could go wrong went wrong. Like everything. But it's okay, we're here now, we're gonna make it work. So how are you guys doing? Is everything okay? You guys feeling okay? We feeling about Eclipse? Anything? Feeling good? Yeah, and the thing is that I actually started streaming, like I hit the stream button, I was like, whatever, right? I was still 2 minutes before class, so I'm like, all right, cool. And then I went, because I upload all my stuff to get the chat and everything, and I went there and I couldn't find it. And I'm like, wait a minute, why is this not working? Then I went to Twitch and I'm like, it's not on. Oh my goodness, stream keys, you know. So I would have had everything good. Everything would have been good had I remembered that I deleted everything first. You don't like yours? You're tired? There we go. Getting better with digital work still drives me crazy. It's fair. Question, we were supposed to turn in the 4 colors and a final, or were we supposed to just turn in the 4 colors? The 4 colors and the final. It was all supposed to come together. And your 50 thumbnails. But like I said, I just put up the assessment, so it's all good. Like I said, I can see how people have turned in a whole bunch of everything. So, tarantula assignment. What is this? So with Skillshare, what's going on? What's wrong with the Skillshare? Did I miss something? Is it not working for you? You just did the 4 colors. Shame, shame, shame. Well, the whole thing's still open, okay? It's open until the end of the day. So you know what? We'll see how this goes, and then we'll just see if we need to put up a second one. Oh yeah, we looked at his already, so we're going to 50 thumbnails, colors, sketches, and 4 level color sketches. Alright. If you're going to make a crescent into an E. Alright, so we got people commenting, that's good. Alright, let's go ahead and look. Those are 4 color comps. Zane, man! We needed the final. What do you mean, so did I? We needed the final. Alright, so it looks like we're... Take notes, and then I'll put up another assessment for the final. Okay? And that'll be due today. It's due today because we need to get some more stuff done. There's only 4 weeks left. I need to at least get 1 good assignment out of you. We're going to try and squeeze in 2. But we need one. We need at least 1 good one, okay? All right. Last night on the discussion board. That's fine. If you post on the discussion board, that's cool. So I'm looking at these. And I'm going, okay, where can we go with this? And I think that something that you have here is interesting, right? This has an interesting look to it, the crescent, and then the E is a line. That would be pretty cool, but then you would need something down at the bottom, right? And then looking at these 4 color comps, the problem is that your E is not, it's not a crescent, right? You don't have that moon somewhere. Actually, I'm gonna, because I know you have your final in it, so I want to see how that one looks. But this is not, it's not a crescent, so we're not really getting that full idea of the moon. And you're still letting that paper destroy you. Like, how is that possible, man? Come on. We're almost finished with the semester. You should be able to get your designs inside of a designated area. Stop letting the paper control you, man. Let's look at your final. We'll just go straight up, find your final. Probably download this one. Save this one. Alright, showing folder. Alright. Oh, it would have been, okay, so where's my pen? Alright, so I think we're still in the same boat, right? Because the problem is that this is an E, right? Like we read the E, we see it, and you're like, alright, well, we see this E, we know it's an E, there's no question on that, right? So that's, right, we see that E, there's your E, it's eclipsed, we get it, right? But this should have maybe even come in, you know, a little bit like that. Oh, maybe this even eclipses that P that would hang down, right? So we have this, right? So we're kind of seeing that moon shape. Let's see, it'll probably come down a little bit more, right? So we kind of have that moon there. And then maybe this, so you have this, right? You have this eye here, right? What if this was the point for the eye. Maybe not that big. Right? So we kind of make it look, you know. And if this is supposed to be a C, right? You got to give us more of it. It's got to turn. Because otherwise it's not going to read. Unless you are trying to do maybe the phases of the moon type deal, right? So you have this much, and then as it turned a little bit, it got smaller, right? And then you use the phases of the moon as it went this way to spell out eclipse. But I think that if you did something like this, right, then you have this shape. Oops. You have this shape to be your logo, right? Like the swoosh. Then all of a sudden we kind of have this crescent E, right? And that way it just looks more like a moon. That's the thing that we already need to, that's the thing that we need to push, right? Is the E, because that's the big thing, is the eclipse. But then you could also maybe even come in here. Let's see, we'll do another layer. We're gonna give it a blue just for giggles. Ah. Right, so you kind of get that, it's eclipsing the moon, right? You get that, but then you can drop this. Right, so now you have the moon, and then you can write out, you could write out eclipse. So you got the big E, oops. Beauty of digital. You go E, you know, whatever. Right, so now we have the moon, you have the moon in the background, right, and it's a very faded color, but we understand the moon. You have the E that's coming over, and then you wrote out clips, right? So we get to see the E, and then what happens is, well, now we need a white background. But you know, you kind of have this shape now, so you can have that moon eclipse as your logo if you wanted to. Okay, but ultimately the thing that really needs to change is this definitely needs to have more of a curve to that E so that we can have the moon, right? That's the big thing. We got to try and have that moon shape. Okay. All right. Let's see what else we got. Just posted my color comps, already submitted thumbnails, and final on the assessment color comps on the discussion board. All right. Well, you can post everything on the discussion board if you want. That way we can just grab it. Alright, let's see. Jasmine, you want to go next? Oh wait, we got sketches. No, his is up there. Okay. So, too bad. You're going next. Alright, we're going to download this. Everything on the discussion board. Yes, because it allows people to comment on it. Okay. See, show you guys my left-handed hustle mode. Okay. Interesting choice, right? We went definitely a lot more gothic with this one, and I think that's fine, right? That's pretty cool. Here's, I don't know what's going on there. I know that we had talked about the two crescent moons and one moon making the E, but you kind of made it into a fish hook. But you could... Alright, so, see if we can't... Alright, so, I'm going to start a new layer. Alright, short V. Oh, actually, first, I'm going to get rid of some of this extra stuff. Alright, because you could have... E eraser, try and make some quick adjustments. Right? So now you have that E. But the thing that you missed, that we talked about, that I saw that you wrote here, right, is outline, and this one be full, right? The reason for that is because we wanted to give this the idea that it can say, you know, so that's E, eclipse, right? But those two moons are really taking too much power, right? So what we'd want to do, so we say, or just make the moon the C. Yeah, you could do that. You could very well do that. But we're gonna come in here and yeah, stop it. Alright, just a quick fix, right? Okay. Let's just say it's black, less saturated, right? Do that, but we want that moon top of it, right? Oops. Right? So you can have something like that. Right? Seems like your letters might be a little crooked. Yep, they don't line up. Gotta use them rulers. And especially if you're gonna hand draw it, you gotta use those rulers. And then of course you wouldn't just make it black. Obviously you'd make that gradient happen for your outline. Same idea so that it fits, but you want it to be this outline so that we see the double moons, right? And then we can look at this and go, oh, eclipse. Oh, okay, I see it now. Right? So, and then if you wanted to, see if I can't grab both of these real quick. So now you have these two, really working. Need the one I submitted and redo. Well, we'll talk about it. We're gonna talk about it, okay? But I like this. It's a different feel, right? It definitely gives it more of a darker feel, more fantasy or gothic type look. I like it. I like it. You just gotta, work. This is that whole idea of the logo part, right? Is this, and then you still might even want to move this over a little bit, right? You gotta play with it. Okay. All right. What else we got? Okay. We just looked at that one, right? All right. See what you got. I've been struggling down. Oh no, it's not working for me. It's a me and my laptop problem. Oh, getting errors and stuff. So I did these on Clip Studio Paint. That's fine. And still use that. Oh no! I used GIMP for text. Oh my goodness, you went all over everything. Can you rotate the E so that it's more upright? Like that. I actually like it tilted a little bit because it looks more like a moon. I don't know, together, they look more like a moon, but either way works. All you have to do is scroll down. Alright, this is my first turn, and not only the illustrations, hopefully it works out. So, well, ooh, let's see what you download. Oh, look at that. This is what we talked about. I mean, it's just too much going on. Yeah. Go same title. Thanks. This is what we talked about. I mean, based on your thumbnails, right? And the discussion that we did before. Yeah. And I think, to be honest, looking at these, your best one is the black and white one, right? Because we looked at your thumbnails last class, and that's how we hopefully came to help you out with this. But I think your black and white one works the best, right? I'm looking at the colors and it's like, okay. But that black and white one really sticks out. The only thing that I would really change about this logo is your font. Your font is meh. I would play around with some fonts and definitely try and do something else with it. Maybe a thinner font, not so thick on what's going on here. But as far as the composition and everything, I think that you followed my critiques for really well, and I mean, first time digitally, this is very clean, very nice, so no, good job. But yes, change the font. That's probably your biggest issue right now. Is just change the font. I don't know what you were so worried about. It's nice, it's clean, and once again, you don't have to constantly have something that's overpowering and flamboyant and all kinds of crazy stuff like that. You just, this is nice and clean. At first, I had like football colors. I had Redskins and the Lakers. Yeah, no, that black and white one is it. To be honest, as it seems, we had a couple people, not turn in the final and all kinds of good stuff like that. When I put the assessment up for the final logo, all you have to do is take this black one and change the font. Glad we were able to look at your thumbnails and give a little bit more guidance to what's going on. I really do think this one right here is really working. Have you tried to not have this white outline right here? This one? Have you tried to not do that? You just kind of have the star overlap it. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I really wonder if just keeping this black here and it just looks like the star is part of it. Yeah, no, I see it breaks it apart. It really does. But because there's nothing else doing that, it sticks out. Like, it was one of the first things that I noticed on all of these. I'm like, oh, there's that white division, like you're trying to cut it. Just try it. Your own choice, right? Just try it. Actually, you know what? I can try it. Hold on. You won't even have to. The best part of this whole digital thing, and doing it online. What? I already did that one. Best part. Come on, if I can find it now. There we go. All right. Okay, you can see where you're going, right? Hold, watch. See something real quick. See? Because I think that with the actual star being white, it's going to make that division that you were looking for anyway. So I would fill that in. I would fill that in and change the font. Those are the two things that you need to do. Right? Fill that in and change the font. And if you're worried about it being too thin, move this over just a little bit so you get more of the thicker part. Okay? But you really don't have to. Just fill in that little black space and change this font. Biggest thing is to change the font. Good job. Jasmine. Okay. Download. Oh. All right. That is a lot of font. Oops. Okay, we want both. that. The final is on the bottom. Ooh. Get to that. Wait. Go back real quick. Final's on the bottom. What? You got thumbnails. Oh, her final. Yeah, well, I was going to download it. Okay, so, but I mean, we looked at all these crazy, pretty fonts and stuff. This is where you went, right? We talked about the blood moon type thing. Yep. Okay. So I like the fact that you kept the crescent. You know, I like the fact that you kept the crescent very clean, right? You didn't pull off any of the drips there, so that's really nice. I only wish, because I know that this part, right? This part was part. I'm assuming is part of this font itself, and then you added these little drips. Am I to accept that? Is that what I should understand? Is that these drips are the ones that you put there? $2,000 after, well, kind of. This actually works, right? But we're going to talk about that in a second. Yeah, so you added these drips, right? These drips are an afterthought. Okay? Because here's the thing, though. You know, you could have come in here and was like, oh, I'm going to take this, copy, paste. Right? Come with my eraser real quick. And go, bam. Right? Took me half a second. Right? Same thing, you know, same thing here. Lasso, you got the two, why not use them, right? You're like, all right, copy, oops, copy, paste, right? Come here, and you're like, all right, so that's a little bit different, right? But you come in and you go, not a problem. We're gonna take our eraser, put it on a brush, drop the opacity and the flow, right? Come in, right? Wait. Oh, that's why that wasn't working. That's not at all what I wanted to do. Eraser, please. Sorry, didn't know it was on the brush. All right, when you come with the eraser, right, you just lighten this up. All right, so all you're doing is erasing the stuff over top of it. All right, and then you come there and you're like, all right, now I'm going to take the stamp tool. All right, and I'm going to select up here, and then I'm just going to bring, all right, we're just going to bring that down. Oh, it's taking me too long. There we go. And you can drop that too so it doesn't come out too strong. And you just select up here. Right? And you just kind of mask it. Right? And so you can play around with that so that it's not, it looks like the font is doing something. And then, you know, of course, I went ahead and merged it, but let me show you something else. Okay, so now that it's separate, I can modify it, right? So I can come in here. Right, so that it doesn't have to be the same width and size. You can just shrink it down, right? And then you could have taken this. You could have took the same thing. Whoops. If you wanted to, right? But I think that would have been too much. I like the crescent not having the blood on it, right? Keeps everything nice and clean. And then with this, like, to be honest, you shouldn't do any of this stuff. The drippy stuff on there. Like, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do any of that. Right? Just a nice, clean, established in 2000. Right? No drips on that. Because, I mean, let's check it out, right? Text. That's really big. It's really small. Alright, and we'll go EST. Let's make it black. We'll go EST 2020. I'm putting 2020 because it didn't get established in 2000. Oops. Alright, and then you get it so that it doesn't stick out past the actual logo. There's zero reason for it to be all like, oh, well, it's out here by itself. Nope, don't need to do that. Right? Grab your thing. Look at that. So close. Right? Bam. Keep it there. Enter. And get rid of these ugly things here. Right? Those aren't needed at all. I mean, you might want to bring in that drip. Right? Come into this thing just a little bit. Maybe get it just a little bit smaller so it's off that P a little bit. There you go. Right? And don't be afraid to come in, you know, don't be afraid to come into something like this with your eraser, right? And try and take some of it off, right? It doesn't always have to be all the same way, especially if you're making it yourself, okay? Yeah? No, I mean, it works too. It works too. But see, I think the reason why I would want this here is because when you do this, it looks like a movie. Right? It looks like a movie or a video game or something like that. And if you're trying to set yourself apart from something like that, you put the established on there and it's like, oh, okay, so that's a production company. It is a clothing line. It's something like that. So... And you got to remember, we're trying to make this clothing line. So, excuse me. So the more you can keep it away from looking like something else, the better. And just adding that little bit, done. I had to already submit. Can I redo? Also attach the color comps. Like I said, it seems like we've all had a little bit of issues on what needed to be in on this one. Okay. I'll make sure to post another assessment right after class, and then keep it up all day, right? That way you can actually turn in your redo and everything else, okay? There's the thumbnail. Oh, 0, 0. Oh, there are the comps up there. I see them. But we're just gonna return in everything. John and Zane we already looked at. Mark. Mark, man, you could have submitted everything into one. Seriously. Killing. Okay. These up here are actually pretty good. Right? Eclipse with reverse moon. Submit them in one this time. PDF! You gotta submit them as a PDF. That's how you get them all into one. I like these. These are, I mean, it's going to be very simplistic, very easy. I hope you went with this. These are interesting too, right? But you're not really giving us, they're not eclipsing each other at all. But I think that you could get away with it. You got the 2 moons, or you got the 2 E's, right? Trying to represent something. I think that if you went this way and you actually had one an outline and one a fill, that probably would have worked. So I'm hoping that you went with either this or this. Yes, you can do a JPEG if you have one, but I already said that Blackboard will not allow you to submit more than one JPEG at a time per post, right? Something you could have done was start one thread, call it Eclipse, post your thumbnails, hit reply, post your comps, hit reply, post your final. All right? All right. Schemes. Okay. So right off the bat, these colors are not working. Right? They're just way too colorful. Very vibrant, like very vibrant colors. You need to stay off of the right side of that color picker, man. So I have an issue. There are a couple things that are wrong with that. I'm assuming you went with that one. Let's see. No! First off, why is this image cropped? Like, why is this image cropped right here? Come on, man. You're doing it digitally. You should not go all the way to the edge. Zero reason. Zero reason. Come on. Alright, we're going to go here. I'm going to download this one. Why did you pick that color comp? That's crazy. It was so bright, so colorful. Alright, so we're gonna focus on this one. I didn't crop it, it saves like that on... It's like, it saves like that on God? Like, what? Alright, so this one, alright, let's put put another thing under here. Whoops. Okay. Well, I don't know how. How are you saving it? If that's the case, you need to give yourself a little bit more space. Unless you're working with no background, right? So if you're working with no background and then you save it, it's gonna crop it really quick. Like see how I have this. So if this is gone, I have this white background. So if I was to start with a new layer, and I was gonna go and like blah 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 blah. There's my design, right? And I save it as a JPEG. It's gonna go. It's trying to condense that space, right? Don't do that. Put a background in so that the computer actually knows what your dimensions are. Okay. Now, with this, I see that you went in here, here, and here, right? You hit it with a brush, a soft brush to kind of get this nice gradient, right? But the issue you're having right now is that right here and right here, it's so bright in comparison that it looks like it's glowing, right? It's bringing a lot of attention right here and right here for no reason, okay? So you're gonna wanna make that less white, okay? Come in and make that less white, okay? I don't mind the gradient at all, the gradient's fine. It's just you need to make that part right here less intense, okay? And then, I mean, you guys in your spacing is just, you don't want to give anything any type of area to breathe. Right? Whoops. Okay. Just make the font just a little bit smaller, and I would pick a different font, right? The font's not saying anything. It's just a random stock font, whereas even when you use Times New Roman, right? It says something, it's more sleek, it's more elegant, it's thinner. This one, it's just the middle, right? It's not thick, it's not thin, it's smack in the middle, right? And font means a lot, okay? Typography means and says a lot. And if you pick a font that is literally in the middle of thin and thick, it says average, right? When you use something like a Times New Roman, like you know how they have Times New Roman thin, then they have Times New Roman bold, and then they got Times New Roman, right? Well, people stay away from regular Times New Roman because it's average, right? Everyone has it, everyone uses it. But then if it's like, oh, I used bold, and you're like, oh wow, okay, so that it's bold, it's literally in the name. But you should get some fonts. Look on the font, right? Look on what is it? I think it's just font.com. There's so many free font softwares that you can look at, because one of the things is we're not trying to make it so that you have to design your font. I mean, I do. When you take my typography class, be prepared to be making your own fonts, right? But at this point, and most graphic designers, that's what they do. They buy fonts from other people. They're like, that's really good. I want that. I want my commercial license because that's going to work really well with my logo, right? You need to find a different font. You guys need to stop relying on what Adobe gives you and actually find some really cool fonts. They're all not going to work either, you know, because if I came in and I was like, all right, Eclipse, all right, even this one is just, it's a little bit more interesting. All right, and this is just Times New Roman regular. That's still, this one's just bulky, right? But if I come here and I'm like, all right, here's the best part about Photoshop and Illustrator, right? I can click on the top one, right? And then while I'm here on the font and it's highlighted, I can just scroll down. All right? They're like, which one's really going to work for the design that I have, right? And you can just keep going until something pops out. You're like, oh, that says, you know, that's really pushing something to where I want it. Yeah, right? And then you move it into your logo, and you're like, all right, cool, right? And if you want to keep going, you highlight, and you just keep moving, right? And you're just like, all right, moving. You're like, oh, maybe that's what I want. That says something more, okay, right? And it's real easy in the computer. If you're doing it in the computer, there's no reason for you to have boring font. None. Okay? So you need to change your font. Definitely use this black one. Pull back on the white parts of the gradient, right? And your font does not have to touch the edge of every single part of that ellipse. All right? Okay. All right, mark, Eclipse project. Okay. All right, you know what? Let's just go ahead and download it. Taylor, what are you laughing at? What'd I say? Alright. First one reminds you of Pepsi. So there's some interesting things here. Okay? Let's see. Let's tell you what not to use. Don't use that one. Oh. Did you turn in your final? Chris? Did you turn in your final? No, okay, good. Don't use that one then. Okay? Do not use that one. That one's not working. The problem you're having with this one is this MasterCard. Oh, that was cool. All right, so that's MasterCard. Don't do that. Whew. Huh. That's pretty sweet. Sorry. Learned something new about my stuff. Alright. Okay, so pretty much this one's out. Okay. So it leaves you with these two that you have. I like, first one is an E. Is that what this is supposed to be? Is an E? Oh, you're saying that the first one is an E, so this is an E. That right there is supposed to be an E. Okay. That's not necessarily coming across because A, you're missing the, you know. Right? And it just doesn't look like an E. What? It doesn't. Does not look like an E. It's an interesting concept. Let's see if we can make it work. Because I was going to say that this is definitely your better design. Alright, so we got that. Ooh. Let's put it on a new layer. Alright, so you got that, which is fine. Start a new layer. I wanted to make it seem like the E was eclipsing the moon. Okay. Maybe you could bring that bottom out a little bit more, bottom curve. Okay, and work on your fonts. Don't just use basic ones. Yep, I said the same thing on the discussion board. Okay, so if we are taking whatever color this is, okay, whatever color that is, you want this to be eclipsing the moon. Alright, so first you need to, if you're trying to go, I need an E, right? First thing you can do is literally just come in, stop it. Nope, you have a lowercase e, right? Okay, we need to give it something normal. Times New Roman, because it's easy. We'll go to $100. Thank you. Right? So now we have this as our guide. Alright, so we have this as our guide. Alright, so now we can come in here, mess around with it. You don't even need to make it all the way, right? Crap, you can just do this with the font that's already here. Look at that. Letters aren't coming out how I want. If you need to buy an inking pen. Alright, look at that. If you really wanted it to, I think that it would work here. Right? You're not a computer, but you gotta, yeah. Right? So, look at that, right there. Right? And if you're like, I want this E to be thicker, like, alright, cool. There you go, right? And now you have it, and to be honest, you could probably even come in here and give it a stroke. Right, and we'll fix the other thing later. But if we go, alright, stroke, no, not pattern, get that out of here. Stroke, we want it black. Here we'll erase that. Right? So there you go. And if you really need it to be a little bit off, which I don't really think you should, but you can, right? And you don't have to use this E, but if we were to do that, right? Come in here, eraser. Right? Alright. So it's either that or that, alright? Oops. Alright, let's get down. Where is it? to go all the way there. Right, so it's either right. So your choice. You can either have it there, or you can actually have the eclipse thing going on. Whoops. I have no idea what I just did, but it's okay. Right? So there's that. So, and it doesn't have to be this E. That's the main thing I gotta keep telling you. It does not have to be this E at all. Okay? Then come here and go straight line. Right? Text. Eclipse. Eclipse. There you go. Right? And once again, the font I picked was Times New Roman. That's sad that Times New Roman, one of the most basic-ist of fonts, is working better than the one that you picked. You've got to think about what it is. What's the story you're trying to tell with your design? It's, you know, you got to try and figure out what are you trying to say with the fonts that you're using. You know, each font has something else to say, right? And you just got to go, oh, look, you could even make it really small like that, right? Bring it down a little bit. Right, like I know that this needs to come up. Right. Bam. Basic fonts are working, but you know there's an array of different fonts you can use. Not all of them have to be serifs. You can have sans serifs. You can have impact. They can all be simple and clean and easy. But every single one of those fonts is different, and every single one of those fonts means something. So when you make your logo, especially like this, where you have an image on top of it, you have to see how is my image going to work with the font, and how is that together going to actually tell someone about the company that I'm trying to do. Okay? So I mean, there you go. I would definitely use a different color. All right, I just selected from you, but I would definitely use a different color to bring that out a little bit. And probably even a different E. Very funny and interesting. I figured, you know, always trying to give you something a little different. All right, let's move on from Chris's. All right, let's see. Thumbnails. All right, we'll look at your color swatches first. Whoops. These are very fun. These are, I mean, these are pretty fun. The ones that actually have a little bit more space behind them, between the clips and the E, actually allow us to see the E, because this yellow one down here, because they're touching, doesn't give us the E, you know, that E feeling, and so it's like clips. Okay, but let's see what your final. Let's see what you turned in as your final. We'll go into something, trying to do something. Oh, and that's the one you picked. Ah, no. No. Not the one you should have picked. At the end of critiques, can I post the thumbnails I did for the next so far and look at them? Sure. That's not it. Oh, go away. Alright. So, first things first. No. No, don't do that one. All of them look like F's now. I can see that. But definitely not that one. No, don't do that one. And another one. That there. Okay. So, I mean, to be honest, though, both of the two on the right, not exactly working. So we'll pull this off here. These are probably your strongest ones. I don't necessarily see the E, right? Why I love yellow. Yes, and it's not working. Spacing-wise, it wasn't working. Color-wise, it just was not working. You could use yellow all you want, just not the way you did. So the problem that I'm seeing here is that it's not really eclipsing anything, right? Like, we don't have a sense of the moon or anything. I don't know if you can. Yeah, there's a. You know, like, this is kind of coming in, and you wrapped it around here. All right. See if we can make that happen. Here. Move this over to. Move it over to right there, I guess. Select, modify, expand. Let's do 10 just to be safe. Not it. No. We need a border. Modify border. 10. Alright. Fill. Be on the right layer. Fill that. Okay, come in. Alright, maybe something like that. Okay, and then we can take your yellow if you want and start a new layer. Here's the thing you gotta remember though. Not everything has to be super on gosh darn it, do it. Not everything has to be super vibrant, right? So you can come in here, do that, and then drop it. All right? Not everything has to be in your face. Okay. Then if you wanted to really push the E in this, come in here. See if we can't make this work. So now we need select, modify, expand, 5, put that in there, fill. Okay, so we still have this nice F going on, but now what you would do is you'd come in and make it so that it actually comes to a point. Right? Not something that would go all the way. Something like that. What'd you miss? Everything. Right? So now you have something like that. Right? So now you definitely read the eclipse, right? You read it, you can see it. If you wanted to switch the yellow to be over here instead, let's try that. Actually, let's go ahead and try that. We're gonna dump this one, right? We're gonna come in here and we're gonna hold on. What are we on here? Why does that work? Oh, because it's above that. Alright, and we'll just try and make it the best as possible without erasing everything. So you know, you can get the point at least. Right, so now maybe it's coming this way. Right, so you kind of have that continuation, so it looks like it's continuing. You definitely do a way better job, right? But now you have, oh, and you know what? Probably don't even need to keep all of this. Right? Let us do some, let the viewer do some visual work. Right? You do that, and you're like, awesome. And the one thing that you absolutely have to get away from is whatever the heck you think this is and why that was a good idea. There's zero reason for sparkles. Okay? So you can do that, or another thing you could also do with this is kind of how you had, how you have this blue going on. If you want to make it so that the clips doesn't actually look on its own, and you want to tie it in, you can actually come in and then do the same little background highlight thing that you got going on, because I know I didn't. Here, let me see if I can get rid of this. I'm going to put a layer underneath it, and I'll show you. Okay. Alright, so our circle is now doing something weird. I don't know which one that is. Is it this first one? Oh, it's the first one. Okay. There we go. Well, we can come here, right? And then you can do that little drop shadow thing that you're doing. Just come on with up, click, 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 yeah, click, click. Right? You can leave it like that, although I would fill it in, right? And then you just come in and you fill it in. Alright? So now you still got that yellow that's coming in, right? And so it's pulling the rest of the letters together, and that way now you have the E that's sticking out, you have the moon and it's being connected to each other, and then the rest of the letters clips are also being filed in with the color so that we associate everything together. But you have got to use a different font. Woo! You guys have got to stay away from these base sans serif fonts. Alright? You've got this nice, clean, like cool curve and wisp going on with that E, and it's all fantastical, and then it's like clips. It's like the ugly stepbrother that you never really want to talk about, and you're like, yeah, well, I gotta bring him along. That's what that font is right now, right? Try and use a font that complements your other font. Alright? Gotta use a different font. Okay? To represent the sun peeking over the moon. Oh, no. It's like, sorry, that sparkle did not work. Did not give what you wanted. But here you go. Like, clean this up. Use this. Clean this up. And give it a different font. Thanks, Google. Glad you like it. But okay, that's where you should be going. All right, I think that's everybody. We're missing some people who didn't post, unless they didn't put it in the discussion board. I'll check my things real quick. There's the swatches. No. Look, you've got this. Bam, bam, right? Then this is thick here, and then it's thin as it wraps around. This is different than this. Okay? You need to get a different font. So, I think before you had... This is your class, my bad. I can leave. You don't need to leave. You don't need to leave, man. Learn some graphic design. Look at my thumbnails. Tell me if it's a better option. Okay, I'll come back to that in just a second. I do believe that you had this turned before, right? If I'm not mistaken, we have it turned before. It was going left to right, and we're like, hey, this kind of, you got to be careful because it reminds us of MasterCard. Yeah, I think that's, it's actually better than this, because right now it just looks like something's kind of crying, right? It'd be different if you had different variations of the line of that like split up lines. It'd be different, but with it all being straight one line, it's not. This isn't working. Yeah, crying. You said throwing up. Oh, it's supposed to be horizontal? Okay. All right. Hold on. And we'll save it and we'll look at it horizontally. rotate. Nope, it's the wrong way. There we go. Okay. Still going with it. Looks like it's gonna look like MasterCard. So you're gonna really have to put something underneath it. Like you're gonna have to give us some type of font, right? That says something underneath it. It's gonna be very important. And you shouldn't use the same color, right? So you've got this black circle here. You know, if that's the case, you're using black, then that means that these should all be a different color, right? All of that should be a different color, right? And you could also make it so that they were different fonts, different sizes, right? So the top and the bottom are that size, and then as you're getting closer, right, your lines are getting thinner. Alright, you just keep getting smaller. Smaller, right? Just do connectors. Alright. And then you can just keep going until the line almost disappears, right? So you could do that, and then, you know, you just come in and, oh, I forgot, didn't put it on another layer, right? But then you can make that into your moon shape, especially if you thought about it beforehand, right? Thought about how you wanted that moon to look, and then these lines, you know, this line can come out a little bit, this line can come out a little bit, that line can come out a little bit, you know, and then it makes that moon. But one way or the other, you need to put some type of font underneath it, right? A lot of people are pulling this line, the whole line thing, and they, you know, even if you, whoops, 2022, right? Even if you put, obviously not uncentered, but centered under there, and you're like, oh, this is established, although people are going to look at that and go, oh, that's the new, you know, that's the new MasterCard thing. But, you know, if you were to put like urban, right, you put in and it's like urban clothing, right? And they look at that and they're like, wait, what? So they'll look at it and go, urban clothing, okay, that's different. But I tell you right now, if I was MasterCard and I saw this logo and you became successful, I would sue you. Copyright infringement, 100%. That's like that right there is definitely the MasterCard, right? So if you were working for MasterCard and you were looking for a new way to spruce up MasterCard, that's it. Okay, so, but if you're going to try and save this without trying to be like, oh, I got to start over completely, right? You need to put something under that tells us that it's not MasterCard. Okay? Good? Good. Did I miss anybody? Anybody I miss? Oh wait, Taylor wanted to look at the thumbnails real quick. I mean, this one right here, or that one, this blue one right here, that's an interesting idea, right? I like that one. That's a nice side. This one's cool too. This one right here, kind of E, right? That's kind of cool. And it could be interesting if it turns in to, you know, the line for the E goes up into the S. That would be cool too. But to be honest, I think that what we had is going to work just fine, right? You just need to fix the font, right? Fix the font, do the curly thing. And it seems like in some places you wanted to do something like that, you know? It's like here, there's something in here where you could do the moon. So I think you were doing it, you were just a little bit, oh, the comps, the color comps. Okay. Sorry. Comps, okay. Oh wait, we had those up. Didn't we? Thought we had those up. Yeah, we looked at those. Still the same font. So yeah, just change font. Change font. Just look at what we did, right? Or what I did. However, this is gonna work for you, right? Just make it work. Come up with a different font. 2 sets of comps. Oh, okay. Flip swatches. Look at that one. Color comps. But okay, cool. Alright, so did I miss anyone else? Oh, quick question. What was the Wacom tablet you suggested to us at the beginning of the semester? The Wacom 1. Wacom 1. I can give you a... I'll put a link in the discussion board. Okay? Pull it up for you. You did? You did 2 logos? Where? Oh, because the other one... Yeah, no. Got you. Oh, okay. Let's look at the thumbnails. All right. Thumbnails not finished. Okay. Your logos look naughty. Right now, the thing is, you're thinking clip art. How do you, how do you know what's going on there? Like, is it farting out a condom? Yes. Yes, it is a condom in her mouth, because it's candy chocolate condoms. Charming, chewable chocolate candy condoms. Yeah, these are... Alright, Matt. These are great, like, clip arts, right? Little emojis and stuff like that. These would be great for those, right? I think these would be great, but I think that you're definitely trying too hard to come up with something that's gonna work, right? Because I mean, you could have this, right? This one right here, the bite mark out of it. It's gonna be hella reliant on how you color that one to make that work, right? But with this, you could at least have some type of font that explains something, or here, right? I think that instead of coming up with a logo for, like, instead of trying to come up with like an image that's gonna work, right? You gotta pick something that's important, right? So I see how down here you have, you know, Chris's Candy Condoms, right? Maybe it's, you know, you think of something like that, where you're like, all right, C3, and then you tell us what it is. Or you know, you do, right, and try and make that into something if you wanted to. I've seen a lot of logos that do something like that, right? I don't agree with that one, but it's doable. That's something you got to knock out, right? So it's really going to depend on what words you actually take out from this, right? Instead of trying to combine too many. I have an actual condom on the logo. Condoms never, that's true, condoms never have, you know, the condom on it. So you want to think of something that might be different, but you know, it's gonna be hilarious. It's gonna be good. I think that you could still put in something about a condom, right? But it's just something that you need to think about, where it's like, you know, Chris, you know, you're like, Chris is, you know, and then it's like, maybe you do candy, right? Or it's a little, you draw a little candy box. Oh, maybe that's it, you know? You have this little candy box, and it shows candy. Or it's a little chocolate bar, right? A little chocolate bar or whatnot. And you can then say, you know, then you do Chris's condoms, right? So you got your chocolate bar here, and you know, that way. And if you wanted to draw one of these very amazing illustrations on it, so if you're like, oh, well, I'm gonna, right, whatever, you're like, oh, and then the little condom thing that you got going on down there, right? And you're like, oh, look, because then it's, now you have this illustration here where we go, oh, it's chocolate. Oh, wait, that's on her mouth, right? And you're like, oh, okay. But then we're seeing it's Chris's condom, so you're combining the idea of the image, right? And it's going, hey, it's chocolate. Oh, look, and on the chocolate bar, the chocolate wrapper, there's this, you know, it's telling you what you can do with it. You can eat it. It's on the tongue. It's not going to be a problem. And then it's, these are Chris's condoms or something like that, right? I didn't check the new Tillman Tuesday Chris's Candy Condoms. Yeah, this is yours. It's Chris's culturally colorful, charming, chewable chocolate candy condoms. All right, so I think that's where because you need to go, because right now you're focused so hard on the emoji of what would represent the company, instead of how can I use what was given, which is, to be honest, a loop, and go, how can I put this in it, right? Like, so it don't gotta be condoms. Cool, just kind of gave an idea. Well, it is about condoms, right? The main thing is it is about condoms, but you don't need to draw a condom, right? But I do believe if you're not going to draw the condom, you need to put it in there. You got to tell us what it is. Like, you can't just draw a chocolate bar and be like, I'm good, right? It's definitely about condoms, okay? Next week's gonna be great. Can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Alright, should be everyone, right? Giving away my ideas. Not a problem. Alright, so any other questions, comments, thoughts, concerns? Ooh. Chocolate in there. Anyone? While I flip through these. So you said the final was due at the end of the day. Yep. As soon as I log off, I'll put it on the assessment, under assessment. What's 11:59? Yep, end of the day, 11:59. Now I kind of don't want to do that since you no, it's fine. Look, if that were the case, right? I'm like, hey, you should try this, right? Because I got that based off of what you were doing. So if that were the case, then explain it a little more. What do you mean explain it? I did. What do you mean? I'm like, what? Yeah, you're gonna have to give me, like, we went over that. We went over yours. Okay, but seriously, if that's gonna work for you, then do it. Because when we did all the color comps and I went over that, then, you know what I mean? Then it was like, oh, well, I can't do that because Mr. Tillman told me. No. All right? You came up with the main idea. You came up with things. Now I'm giving you suggestions. Use it, don't use it, but, you know, please do use it. Miss Bryant, seriously, what do you mean, can I go over yours? This one, right? The line drawing. Oh, this? So, with the lines, all I did, here, I'll make it even bigger. Right? So even bigger, if I do that, then I come down and make my brush a little smaller. Right? Make it a little smaller. So as we're getting closer and closer to the center, the lines are getting thinner and thinner, right? Whoops. Going backwards, but right? And that's it, because it shows here. I'm going to do it on a completely separate one so you can see it. Right? So if I'm coming here, oops, and I go big, bring it down a little bit, out, down a little bit, down a little bit. Right, then stick. Right, and then what we do from here, so we did 2, so we'll come back out, 1, 2, and then we go back up. Right, that was too much. Two. Right? Making sure that you get the proper spacing, obviously. I'm just eyeballing it. right? And so now it looks like we have this nice thing. And how the lines overlap, same way you have it. Right? Nothing's really changed. Nothing has changed. I said that you can't use the same color. Right? Granted, this would be a circle. And then if I go modify border 15, screw it, let's do 20. Right? Can't be the same color. Right? Actually, make sure that it's nice. Whatever. Right, select, modify, contract by 20. Select, modify, contract by another 20, delete. Right? Oops. Select, modify, contract by 40, and then delete. Right? So there you go. And it's just, and then you would still make that a moon, right? You would make it a moon, but it gives us a sense that it's rounding itself out. You got some different line weight, right? It still looks good, but the problem is it's still going to be the MasterCard logo, right? So you're gonna have to put something here. You have to put something here and then some type of text underneath it to tell us what it is. Okay? Yes, you have to. You have to. There's no way. You have to come in and add something. Like I wrote down here, urban clothing, or if you want to call it Eclipse, you've got to tell us what it is. You can't just leave it. You can't just leave it as the MasterCard logo. Like, you have to give us something else. All right, anyone else? Guys, making these collabs take a while. Anything else? Like I said, I will redo my logo and resubmit. Yep. We'll call it the final, Eclipse final. And make sure you turn in your re-edited file. How are we doing? Okay, I'm good over here. Thanks, and have a good weekend. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Stay productive. Okay? If you're like, I don't know what to do, I got some free time, use that Skillshare. Alright? I'm about to sign up today. Use that Skillshare. Okay? Learn something new. I am. I'm about to. It's going to be great. Okay? So if there's nothing else, I'm going to sign off and make my kids some lunch. Good? All right. Chris going to wait until we're halfway out the door. Then got a question. What do you got, Chris? I'm here. Can't guarantee that the rest of the people are still here, but I'm here. What's up? So when I use my ruler, I measure how tall I want the lettering to be, and then I measure how tall I'm with a lowercase letter in the B, which is about half. Then afterwards I measure the space in between the space, in between the letters, and then I draw out the letters with those guidelines and then go over it with a 0.8 micron pen. That would, I mean, if just like that some tip. Well, the best thing you can do to help with lettering. So yes, all right, so let's just say, all right, I'm going to use this, bring a logo, right? And I have my ruler, all right, bring my guideline. This really helps when you do it digitally, right? And you can do this and then print it out, right? So I have my two guidelines. I'm going to take this, and you can just measure it all out. I'm going to say that my font, each letter is going to be that big, right? And so if I'm trying to measure it out and I want to print this out, let's say, I can then go, you know, select, modify, border, we'll make it 3, right? And then bam, right? So now I have this, okay? So I can select this, Control A, Control C, Control V, right? And I have my guidelines so I can match it up, right? And then I can try and say, all right, I want this much space between each letter, right, if they're all tall. And then Control A, C, right? And so now, you know, I can actually come in and line it up, measure it, right? E, X, C, B, right, whatever. And then you can even see right here, you're like, oh, okay. So with this, with this, I can't put a letter over here if I want them to be this size, right? So it would be like, all right, well then this has to go. Now I know I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 letters if I want to do this, right? And if that's not the case, I'm like, all right, well that's not going to work. Now you have to adjust it, right? And this is all measuring, right? So if you're going to do it traditionally, then that's fine. But you could come in and just shrink this down, right? Like, all right, I guess my letters have to be like that. Let me erase this again, right? And then you can select and go, all right, I need to move this over. But now, right, so if this is it, or if you need this one to be, if you're like, all right, I only have one uppercase letter, and the rest of them are halves, that, Control T, all right, you want them to be like that, right? Like, all right, so there you go. So everything is measured. All this is measuring, right? But then what happens is you come in with your pencil, right? Whichever, come with your pencil, and then you literally go, all right, so here, so I know, whoops, that's too big, because we're sketching, right? So you can come in and just be like, all right, so I want, because all you've done thus far is just guidelines, right? So, like, all right, I want this to come out, right? And but you're staying within your, hopefully within your guidelines, right? And you're like, all right, actually here, hold on. Let me put this on another layer so I can prove another point. Alright, so I put this on my layer, I come in, even if I draw outside of it, right, I'm like, alright, cool, I want this out here, right, but especially when you're sketching, right, even if you're sketching and you're doing it traditionally, the whole idea is that you're actually just, you're not trying to finish right away, you're trying to make sure that you have exactly what you're looking for, right, and it works really nicely when you're doing it digitally, right, because you can come in and just come in and fix however you see necessary. I'm like, all right, I want that to be like that. Right, we'll have this come up here, whatever, right? And then you're like, all right, crap, well that's, problem with that is that it's too big, right? Well, just like in sketching, right, you can come in and then just go, all right now I'm gonna just, whoops, nope, stop it, Control T. I'm gonna select it, Control T, right, and now I'm just making sure that it fits in there. And if you're like, oh, I want it to be bigger, I want this to be wider, I want this to take up the whole space, right? You adjust it, and that's it. Bam. Now it's in your space, right? And you know that every single thing is going to fit there. So then when you come in, you're like, well, I need an E. All right? Spiky E. Right? But because it's inside of your box, you know that it's going to fit, right? So when you look at it, and if we got rid of these, right? And if we, let's see, we're going to put in an S. Spiky. Right? We get this. The thing that you have to do when it comes to these guidelines is make sure that they make its way all the way over, right? Because that's the whole point of the guideline, or you use the majority of it, right? You have this box here so that everything can fit in it, not because you think it's cool, right? And then you can just touches that side, right? Because that's the whole thing when I'm like, hey, you're not on that guideline, right? And you're like, all right, cool, there's my S, so now I need to come over here to this E and make sure that that stays the same. Right? So now, when I get rid of this, they look like they're the same spot size and use the same amount of space because you hit that guideline, right? And they're staying on the guideline. You see how that E and that S is staying on the guideline, right? Then once I have that, then I come in with my inking pen and I pretty much just trace over it, okay? The measurement part is super important because it keeps everything unified because you are not a computer, right? In Illustrator, you can actually type in where the X and Y axis is and line up every single one based on that. You can do that, right? But you're not a machine and you're trying to do stuff traditionally, so you have to measure it out. When do you need to have Adobe by? Now. Your next assignment is going to be Adobe based, so now. Should have been so excited when you heard about it last class that you went and got it right then. Unless your computer is striking, right? But you need it now, and you need it. All right, anything else? Did that help, Chris? Does that make sense? Okay. Everything good? So, we good? No more questions? Just go from there. Right? Everyone start working. I'll put the assessment for the Eclipse final up. I'm going to take your silence as that we're good. All right, well, oh man. I answered that question. Well, I think. When do we need to have Adobe by? You need to have it now. Yep, it's the only question I see from her. All right, cool. Well then, I will see you guys later. Have a good weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay productive. All right, and Tillman Tuesday assignment due before class. Okay, I'll make sure to put that up too. All right then, I'll see you guys later. And don't forget, you guys got work to do. And get Photoshop and Illustrator. All right, it's free until the end of May. So yeah, you should get it. All right, I'll see you guys later.